Sorting Dream SMP members into their Hogwarts houses. So, this video is going to be exactly what the title said. And first up, we've got Gryffindor. The first person I'm going to sort in Gryffindor is going to be Tommy. I mean, come on, he's the classic protagonist. He's pretty much been at the front line of every single event in the SMP. And he really is always trying to be the good guy, trying to fight with everything he has. Next up, we have Wilbur. Not necessarily this one, but the one before the Insanity arc. He led an army, he declared an election so he wouldn't be a dictator. Granted, he did rig that, but we're going to forget about that. He's very much a Gryffindor. He's always trying to help. He's always very brave and willing to fight for what he loves. Jack Manifold. Jack is in Gryffindor because even though if he's not the most clever, he's always willing to fight. He has his own land. He challenged Technoblade on Doomsday, and he's always ready to fight, be it in his best interest or not. Next up, we have Quackity, who has done some questionable things, I admit, but he's always done it in regards of what he thought was right. Maybe it wasn't always the right thing, but he always believed in his cause. Next, we have Aunt Frost, who we don't know all that much about, but we do know that whenever he commits for a cause, he will fight for it with undying loyalty. And finally, for this one, we have Ranbu, who might seem like an odd choice, but he's always ready to fight for anything he believes in. We have yet to see exactly what he'll choose to believe in, but for now, we know that he'll try and fight his best for anything that he believes to be right. Next up, we have Ravenclaw. So, the members that I'm sorting into this are Sam. He built the prison. He's clearly very technology advanced. He's very smart and clever, and even though he did get trapped by the egg, we'll have to see how that goes. What I know so far is that he's definitely someone who belongs in Ravenclaw. Puns. We all know what Puns did, but he's also always been fighting in his best interest. He's very clever, and he always knows who's going to win and who's going to lose, and he makes sure to be on the winning side. Next up, we have Eret, who has also made some questionable choices in the past, but he's always been fighting for a single cause. He's always very smart about what he chooses, and just like Puns, he prefers to be on the winning side. Next up, we have Nikki. Both anarchist and regular Nikki are very clever, very smooth and savvy, and always willing to say what they need to get out of somewhere. Finally, we have Phil, who is definitely one of the most level-headed members of the SMP. I mean, he's pretty much the only thing that kept Techno from going totally and completely off the rails, and I definitely think he always makes sure of whose side he's on. Next up, we've got Hufflepuff. So, first up, George. I mean, if anyone's going to sleep through all the major events, it's going to be a Hufflepuff, right? Bad Boy Halo. The one before the egg. I'm really not sure that whole storyline, but he's definitely, he fights for the Badlands, but he's also a bit of a muffin. Tubbo. So maybe he's been in several wars, but also he's just the B-boy, so he's gotta be in Hufflepuff. Skeppy. Do you really need any proof? I mean, if Bad's in here, then Skeppy is definitely in here. Carl. Carl is an interesting character because what he does is often related to the plot, but in a different way than many would think. But he always tries to help whoever he can and do what he truly believes in. Finally, we have Connor. I mean, just like Carl, he's very similar. He always tries to do the right thing. He's not necessarily one for a lot of conflict. So in here, that's all of them. We have Slytherin next up. This one's probably going to be pretty easy to predict. We have Dream, of course. How much do you need me to... I'm not sure how much explaining this needs. He's chaotic, he's evil, he's savvy. He's the main villain of the story. Sapnap, obviously one of Dream's closest associates and just an arsonist who's willing to lie and cheat to get his way. Fundy. Now, even before Fundy's whole anarchist storyline, he's always been in it for him, not necessarily for L'Manberg or for anyone else, but it's always been in his best interest to do something. And that reason I'm putting him in Slytherin rather than Gryffindor like you might expect. J-Schlatt, another kind of predictable one, but he's definitely he uses and manipulates other people, uses them to get his way. He's a master of lies and conning. And Techno. He's an anarchist. That's pretty much it. He's done some very not so nice things. Finally, you might be noticing that I've skipped a couple members. So these are the people that I wasn't sure what house to put them in. Maybe I don't personally watch them. Maybe they haven't had enough plot relevancy for me to really know where they belong. So this is all of those people. Callahan, I haven't seen enough of him or in any sort of plotline to know where he'd go. Alyssa. I don't know much about her. I mean, maybe someone can tell me in the comments where she'd belong, but I don't watch her and I don't think she's been on the server for a while. Ponk. I honestly am not sure. I haven't seen enough of him in any sort of plotline to determine where he would be. Purpled, again, he hasn't been in the plotline and the story relevancy enough for me to decide his personality properly. H-Bomb. Pretty much the same deal. All these people I just don't know enough about, or I haven't seen them in the plotline. Hannah Rose, a rather new member who I know almost nothing about. Captain Puffy, someone who I don't personally watch. I don't know her relevance to the plotline, so maybe you could help me out in the comments. Vicstar and Laserbeam. I'm ready for Tommy to come and angrily tell me where Vicstar belongs, but I don't know enough about them. Foolish G, another very new member who hasn't seemed to have much to do with the plot yet, so we'll see where that goes. And Slimesicle, who, again, has not had enough to do with the plot for me to know in any way, shape, or form where he would go. That's everyone. So, do you want a quick recap? These are all the people in Gryffindor. These are all the people in Ravenclaw. These are all the people in Hufflepuff, Slytherin, and not really sure what I'd do with them. Thank you ever so much for watching. This has been Nyx. Like, subscribe, comment, fight with me in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.